Now, moving forward now, Plateau State, north central Nigeria, was engulfed by another mindless killing when gunmen killed about 25 travelers and injured several others. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered a manhunt for the killers. In a statement through the Senior Special Assistant of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the president ordered security agencies to fish out the perpetrators and bring them to justice. Jide, Plateau State again.
Yes, the cycle of killings in Plateau State is almost as old as this democratic dispensation. Since the early 2000s, we've been killing one another. And this killing didn't just happen. There had been some killings before this one, especially in the community called Jebu Meyangu, which is very close to the headquarters of the 3rd Division of the Nigerian Army in Rukuba. I am particularly ashamed that this incident could happen so close to the headquarters of the Army's 3rd Division, and people were killed in the manner in which they were killed. The governor of Plateau State, whom we just saw now on the screen, has proved powerless to stop these killings, especially the recent killings. There was a time it was Riyom that we were hearing all kinds of stories, Riyom, Barikin Ladi, that we were hearing all kinds of stories about. Constantly. Today, it is Meyangu in the Rukuba area. That's where killings have been happening. In the last 3 weeks, more than 100 people have been killed in that area. More than 100. Last week, there was a story. A lot of it is reported, but no, we did not get the kind of response that we have about this one. For example, last week, and if you Google it, any Nigerian listening to me, any Nigerian listening to me can Google it. 5 women were on their farms. They were shot and killed on their farms. Even after this one, on Sunday morning, there were attacks, up to 7 people killed on Sunday morning in response to what happened. The University of Jos had to hurriedly shut down the school and postpone the exams that the students were meant to write until further notice. So what I'm saying is, these killings have been on for some time, but no serious response from the government, either at state level. In fact, the killings in Basa is the NGOs that have even responded more than government. The NGOs stepped in, and we saw them trying to achieve peace between the warring groups. If there is a place in Nigeria where people have made moves to stop the natives from killing one another, to stop the people from killing one another, it is in Plateau State. I remember that there was even a time that Senator Shehu Sani put it upon himself to go to the place trying to find peace. There have been so many. There was a time that we felt that, okay, peace had come. There was a football match between the Biroms and the Hausa Fulani, you know, a kind of football match meant to end their years of killing one another. But we still have people killing one another as if human life is worthless. So the question is, why are these things going on? They are going on because we do not punish people who kill fellow Nigerians mindlessly. How many people have been put on trial, jailed, and the press was able to report the fact that we have made examples out of them? We will hear that the army and the police, that they've arrested people. We've heard now that they've arrested people. Where does it, where the matter, where does it usually end? There was a funeral for a federal lawmaker, and during the funeral, mindless killers attacked the funeral procession and killed people who were already mourning. Do you think that in such a situation, this kind of killings will continue? We have not shown serious effort to end these killings. And as I've always said, it is not the army that or the police that will end killings. The people must make up their minds that, look, we want to live in peace with one another. Yes. Where people continue to have this mutual distrust, hatred for one another, the killings will not stop. Because you are waiting for government. Government cannot by fiat stop you from killing one another. You have to decide that enough is enough.
Mayor, this is not farmer headers clash now. Now, we've seen that, look, that this thing is just like a reprisal or continuation of the animosity.
You see, it who comes to equity must come with clean hands. We try to gloss over problems, thinking that if we close our eyes, that problem will disappear. What is happening in Plateau is the same thing that has been happening since 1999. It is mistrust between two different people who believe that they should kill each other. So what we'll have is reprisals. Some people will kill, and then the other party will come and do reprisal killing. So it is the person that I will still consider to be at fault in all this is the government. Because when some people attack communities and kill people in those communities, and they do it repeatedly, and they get away with it, and they don't see government punish those that are responsible for such things, it will be very difficult for you to stop people from that community from doing reprisal killings. So that is the problem. The people must learn to trust themselves, but more importantly, they must learn to live together. Because whether they like it or not, circumstances have put both of them together, and they have to learn to live together. These senseless killings cannot help anybody, because it's just the same thing. Some set of people will kill, the other people will go back, they will go and plan and do reprisal killings. And that is what is happening. So those people who committed these unbelievable atrocities were doing that as a reaction to things that have happened in their communities in the past. That is the truth.
And sometimes when these things happen, people get killed, government would not even show any empathy. You won't go there to try to calm people down. You won't go there to sympathize with the people. You won't show the people that you are making serious efforts to ensure that those killings do not happen again. What are the steps being taken? Let the people see that certain steps are being taken. You are putting people on trial. Let the world know that you are putting people on trial for doing this, for doing that. That is the only way they can learn and realize that, look, this is not going to be allowed. This is not permitted. This will not be tolerated. But we will have a situation in which killers get away with simply killing our people. No lesson learned. Nobody punished. So how do you deter others from pursuing this course of action?
Yeah,
so
that's
why where there is no justice after killings are carried out. I'm telling you, such killings will continue, because other people will think, look, if we kill these people, nothing will happen. So it has to change. It starts to change. We can't continue in this manner. And leaders in Plateau State should look at themselves and tell themselves that they have failed. If you can't reconcile your people who have been living together for donkey years, if you can't get them to commit to peace, then what are you doing? You call yourself a leader, you are a failed leader. If you can't get your people to stop killing one another like goats, evil goats,
They don't die.
when we kill them with
dignity.
with dignity. You catch a human being, you born a human being, somebody who has not offended you, people, travelers, and it's not the first time in that Plateau State that they will go and wait on the highway for people, and start killing people. Bauchi Road, very dangerous place, especially when there is tension. It can happen to any of us. That's why this has to stop. You can imagine a traveler, he had this plan to do something in a particular town. And suddenly, some people who suspected that, it could be an attacker.
Where are you coming from?
That's what happened to even Nigerian soldiers in
Nasarawa.
In Zakibiam. They came to make peace, and the militia thought that they actually were fighting on the side of their enemies. That they were fighting on behalf of their enemies. So they took them and killed them, and even disemboweled the army captain who led the team. Obasanjo was very angry.
Yeah.
That was why that attack happened, and that attack cost the life of the uncle of the immediate past chief of army staff, Victor Malu. So these things put us to shame as a people. People abroad, they will be reading that Nigerians, travelers were just, how many times, even about other African countries, how many times do we read about such barbarism? How many times do we read about such barbarism? Do you read about Kenya and you hear the old people, except if it's Al-Shabaab that carried it out? But these are not...
Which is a terrorist group.
Yes, it's understandable. Because Al-Shabaab wants Kenyan forces to leave Somalia.
Somalia, yeah.
So, but in this case, these are not. It's not terrorism related. It's just commoner disharmony.
Now, there's always this coloration that what Jide said. By extension, I think the ethnic and religious leaders too must sit down.
Yes, I agree with you. That's why one, I will want to advise government to know that if you don't want people to resort to self-help, you must be seen to be fair to all concerned. If there are killings in a community and government make efforts to fish out those responsible and to punish them for it, the people within that community will not see any need for self-help.
Yes.
But if there are repeated killings within a community and they see that government has this nonchalant attitude about it, nobody was arrested, nobody was made to account for such killings, people will resort to self-help. So the first step is that government must do the needful. Those criminals who wants to divide or make peace impossible in Plateau should be fished out and punished for that effort. Without deterrent, people will always commit crime. That's the reality. And because the people doing these killings in Plateau, because they be doing it repeatedly, and government is nonchalant about it, they don't hear anybody being punished for it, and everybody make it look as if it is the norm, it doesn't matter. There's no way people will not resort to self-help. So the first step is for government to make sure that anybody that is responsible for these killings within this community must be fished out and punished and be made to give account for what they've done. Then the community leaders must be able to tell themselves the truth, that whether they like it or not, the two tribal groups that have been killing themselves, they have no choice. The destiny have made both of them to be in that part of the world. And whether they like it or not, they must live together.
That's the thing.
To have overwhelmed the security agencies around that place in terms of responses and in terms of, the way they respond to, because if at the time the first 25 were killed, if they had moved in, they would have stemmed the tide of further killings.
Yes, that's why I said I'm ashamed personally that area, there is a military base in that area and the headquarters of 3rd Division, which which is supposed to be able to deal with this kind of threats. Yes, we read reports that some people were arrested, that some were even rescued. You see, before we came into this studio, I saw a story involving the people of Katsina State. They demonstrated that attacks by bandits were too much. What was government doing? By the time these people take up arms, because I heard that even in Katsina now, that more and more people are buying weapons. They are arming themselves. They've been pushed to the wall. Some are forced to go and buy houses in Niger Republic. Once it's 6 o'clock, they leave Nigeria, they go and sleep there. If it gets to the point that everyone now thinks that, look, the government does not exist for me, therefore, in order to help myself, I must go and buy pump action. I must buy the AK-47. Then we are in trouble.
Jide, let's quickly pick this. Ima is calling us from Jos. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel.
Oh, thank you. This
Quickly,
is Emmanuel calling from Jos. Yes. I want to appreciate TVC for bringing up this issue. I waited yesterday, but I think it was an act of journalism to wait and hear the real story. Yes, to a very large extent, what is happening on the plateau is not something that we need to look too far to understand. We're talking about reprisal attacks.
Yes.
These reprisal attacks are happening because government has chosen to ignore some of the things that are happening. And this is causing a lot of havoc within the plateau. Is like a mini Nigeria with several tribes. So you have issues where you touch this area answers. You touch this area. Let me just bring a little scenario. What happened in Niango happened since 2nd of August. And it's something that has been happening almost for 2 weeks. Government did not put any curfew to stop what is happening. Government did not respond to it. It's just 10 minutes from Rukuba Barracks. Soldiers were not able to curb the situation. And you have people like that having about 100 people being killed. And government is not doing anything much about it. The Speaker of the House of Assembly plus their representative went to meet the governor to talk about the issue. And after waiting for about an hour, they told them that he was resting.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma, for your contribution. Thank you, Ma, for your contribution. On the final analysis, I think we have to challenge Governor Jang to...
No, Jang. Lalong.
I'm sorry. Governor Lalong to rise up to this occasion, and that Plateau State should not just go under. His chief security officer.
This thing is really perplexing. It's depressing. You see children who are victims of war that they played no part in about. It is in our country that it happens.
Something that has
How do we respond? I was reading what the statement from the IG that is going to send the police intervention team led by DIG Sanusi, who is the DIG in charge of the North Central, to go to that place. As I said earlier, more than 100 people had been killed. In fact, between July 31st and August 2nd, so many people were killed. We read about these things in the papers. What was being done to put an end not just to the killings, but to ensure that the people see the need to live together, to not see his brother as an enemy. There are communities in our country where, whether people like it or not, look, you must live together because you can't chase them away. It's just like South Africa. It's just like South Africa. You say, oh, the whites have come to dominate us. The whites, they are this, they are that. Where do you send? Some of them have been there since the 16th century. Where do you send them to? Many generations. Where do they go? So, you know, a lot of them They can't even link their ancestors to a particular country. You know? Oh, they could say some of those them were originally Dutch. But can they go to Holland now and say, okay, this is our family house? No. So you have to live with them. There's nothing bad in living with people. Live with them. Live happily with your neighbors.
Final take on that?
Yes, my final take on this is that government should do the needful. Government must be seen to be fair. People, those who are involved in senseless killings must be brought to book. That is only when people in such communities will not resort to self-help. If government does not do the needful, what we are seeing now will continue to be this vicious circle that will be happening to
and it will get worse. It's the same thing. Even when you look at even in Zamfara, Katsina, when these attacks became prevalent, the people formed what you call Ensake. They are the local vigilantes. By the time the local vigilantes got involved, those ones will show no mercy.
Yeah.
Then the killings continued. When they now come to say, okay, you kill 4 persons from our own tribe, they will now come on a market day, attack the market. That's why you read in some cases up to 100 people killed in one day. You know, in Katsina, there was a day that they killed about 120 people in one day because the reprisal attacks now happened on innocent people.